The prisoner of Void Station. The debris field stretched across 3 light minutes of empty space, a graveyard of twisted metal and shattered composites. Maya Reeves guided her salvage vessel, the Fortunate Wreck, through the floating remains with practiced precision. Her ship was small, barely 50 meters from bow to stern, but it was nimble and, more importantly, it was hers. "Anything promising, Pip?" she asked, eyes scanning the holographic display. The ship's AI projected a miniature figure onto the dashboard, a cartoonish representation of a Victorian gentleman complete with monocle and mustache. Maya had programmed him herself during a particularly lonely 6-month haul through the Oort cloud. Several metallic masses of sufficient density to warrant investigation, Captain, Pip replied, his accent comically proper. "However, I'm detecting an anomalous energy signature approximately 18 kilometers to starboard." Maya raised an eyebrow. "Anomalous how?" "It appears to be a contained fusion reaction, but the containment field is unusual, not matching any known human or consortium designs." That got her attention. The United Earth Consortium had a monopoly on all known fusion technologies in human space. Anything outside their patents was either experimental, alien, or illegal. All 3 possibilities meant credits, lots of them. "Plot a course," she ordered, already calculating potential buyers in her head. As they approached the source, the anomaly revealed itself, a structure nearly invisible against the void. It wasn't merely dark-hulled like consortium stealth vessels. It seemed to bend light around itself, only detectable by the subtle distortion of stars behind it. "Is that a station?" Maya whispered, magnifying the image. "It appears so," Pip confirmed. "Construction unknown, but preliminary analysis suggests it predates consortium standardization by several centuries at minimum." Maya's heart raced. Pre-consortium technology was rare enough to fetch obscene prices on the collector market. An entire station. She could retire to Terra Prime and live like royalty. Any life signs? None detectable, though the station's whole composition is interfering with scans. Maya guided the Fortunate Wreck into a docking position with one of the station's extruded airlocks. The connection sealed with a hiss that sounded almost reluctant. "Atmosphere reads as breathable, though stale," Pip reported. "Temperature at minimal life support levels." Maya checked her oxygen supply and sidearm before stepping through the airlock. "Keep the engines warm, Pip. If I'm not back in 3 hours, log my salvage claim and notify my sister." "Of course, Captain." "Do be careful." The station's corridors were unlike anything Maya had encountered in 15 years of salvage work. The walls curved organically, with no visible seams or panels. Soft illumination followed her movements, emanating from nowhere and everywhere at once. The floor was firm but slightly yielding beneath her boots. "Pip, are you getting this?" she whispered into her comm. Intermittently came the static-laced reply. "The structure appears to be attenuating our signal." Maya continued deeper into the station, using her handheld scanner to map her route. The technology was clearly beyond consortium capabilities, perhaps even beyond the legendary Arcturus Accord that had collapsed a century before she was born. The corridor opened into a vast chamber, a perfect sphere at least 30 meters in diameter. At its center, suspended in a column of shimmering energy, hung the humanoid figure. Maya approached cautiously, her scanner indicating no immediate threats. The figure was female, tall and powerfully built, with iridescent copper-colored skin covered in intricate raised patterns that might have been tattoos or natural markings. She wore what appeared to be ceremonial armor, a breastplate of some crystalline material over a bodysuit of metallic mesh. Most striking were the chains, seemingly physical yet somehow integrated with the energy field. They wrapped around the figure's limbs and torso, connecting to the field itself. "Hello," Maya called out tentatively. The figure's eyes snapped open, vertical pupils within amber irises, fixing on Maya with unsettling intensity. "You are not of the Keepers," the figure stated. Her voice resonated oddly, as if coming from everywhere in the chamber at once. The language was standard consortium, but with an accent Maya couldn't place. "No," Maya replied, fighting the urge to step back. "I'm Maya Reeves, salvage operator. This station appears abandoned." "Not abandoned. Forgotten." The figure's gaze never wavered. "I am Calistria, war herald of the 7th House of Azath. I have waited for one who would find this place." "How long have you been here?" Maya asked, circling the energy column, studying the technology. "Time passes differently within the binding field. By your measurement, perhaps 2,000 of your standard years." Maya stopped short. 2,000 years? That's impossible. "For your kind, perhaps." Calistria's expression remained impassive. "The Keepers designed this prison to last until the stars burned cold." "Prison." Maya's hand instinctively moved toward her sidearm. "I pose no threat to you, Maya Reeves," Calistria said, noting the gesture. "I am bound by the covenant of restraint. The one who releases me commands my service until death or the fulfillment of the blood debt." Maya frowned. "Why were you imprisoned?" "I refused to destroy a world." A flicker of emotion, pride or defiance, crossed Calistria's face. "The 7th House declared war on the people of Tyrillus Prime. I was ordered to deploy world killers. I chose instead to warn the Tyrillisians." "You saved them." "No. My warning came too late. The 7th House deployed another in my place, but my betrayal could not go unpunished, and death would have made me a martyr. So I was bound here, at the edge of known space, to serve as a warning that never came to pass." Maya's scanner beeped in alert. The energy signatures were fluctuating. "The binding field is degrading," she said, studying the readings. "Has been for centuries, by the look of it." "Yes," Calistria confirmed. "The Keeper's technology was powerful, but not eternal. When it fails completely, this station will collapse into nothingness, taking me with it." Maya considered her options. If the station was unstable, there wasn't much time to salvage anything substantial. The alien herself, however, her knowledge, her technology, would be worth more than any physical components. "If I release you," Maya said carefully, "what exactly does this service entail?" "My strength, my knowledge, my life, all become yours to command," Calistria replied. "By the laws of my people, I am bound to protect and serve until you release me, or until I have repaid the debt of my freedom. And if I refuse, then I remain until the station fails. The choice is yours, Maya Reeves." Another alert from the scanner, power fluctuations increasing. Maya made her decision. "How do I release you?" Calistria's gaze shifted to a control pedestal Maya hadn't noticed before. "Place your hand upon the sigil and speak your intent." Maya approached the pedestal cautiously. A disk of the same crystalline material as Calistria's armor was embedded in its surface, inscribed with swirling glyphs. "Pip," she said into her comm, "if this goes sideways, make sure my sister gets the ship." Static was her only answer. Taking a deep breath, Maya placed her palm on the disk. It warmed beneath her touch, the glyphs illuminating with amber light. I release you from your imprisonment," she said, feeling slightly ridiculous. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The energy field collapsed with a thunderous crack. The chains binding Calistria shattered like glass, fragments dissolving into motes of light before they hit the floor. The alien dropped to one knee, catching herself with a hand against the chamber floor. For several seconds, neither moved. Then Calistria raised her head, meeting Maya's gaze. "The covenant is transferred," she said, her voice now a rich contralto without the resonant effect. "I am bound to your service, Maya Reeves of Earth." Before Maya could respond, the chamber shuddered violently. The containment field was integral to the station's structural integrity. Calistria explained, rising to her feet in one fluid motion. "We have minutes before total collapse." "Then we should go," Maya said, already turning toward the corridor. "My ship's docked." She stopped short as Calistria moved past her with inhuman speed, the alien's reflexes making her appear almost to teleport. "Follow closely," Calistria commanded. "The primary corridors will be the first to destabilize." Together they raced through the disintegrating station, Calistria leading them through maintenance passages and emergency routes that Maya's scanner hadn't detected. Twice the alien physically lifted Maya over collapsed sections, her strength as impressive as her speed. They reached the airlock just as a catastrophic tremor shook the station. Calistria pushed Maya through first, following close behind as the docking clamps began to fail. "Pip," Maya shouted as they tumbled into her ship. "Emergency undock. Now." "Executing," Pip replied calmly. The fortunate wreck shuddered as it tore free from the failing airlock, thrusters firing at maximum to put distance between them and the station. Through the viewport, Maya watched the impossible structure begin to fold in upon itself, collapsing into dimensions that shouldn't exist. The distortion grew smaller and smaller until, with a flash of light that momentarily blinded her, it vanished completely. When her vision cleared, nothing remained of the station. No debris, no energy signature, not even a disturbance in the background radiation. It was as if it had never existed. Chains of honor. The fortunate wreck drifted at the edge of the Cirrus asteroid belt, engines at minimal power. In the cramped galley, Maya watched as Calistria examined the food synthesizer with careful curiosity. "Your technology is primitive," the alien observed, "but efficient in its own way." "It makes a decent cup of coffee," Maya replied, sipping from her mug. "That's all I really need." 3 days had passed since their escape from the void station. 3 days of uncomfortable silences and cautious questions. Calistria had spent much of that time in meditation or studying the ship's systems, while Maya tried to decide what to do with an 8-foot-tall alien warrior who considered herself indentured. "You still haven't told me what you want," Calistria said, turning away from the synthesizer. "My purpose is to serve. Without direction, I am incomplete." Maya sighed. "Where I come from, people don't own other people. It's considered barbaric." "The blood debt is not ownership," Calistria replied, her tone suggesting she'd explained this concept many times before. "It is a sacred bond, a restoration of honor through service." "What if I don't want your service? What if I just want to drop you off at the nearest outpost and go our separate ways?" Calistria's expression hardened. "Then you condemn me to a fate worse than imprisonment. Among my people, one who abandons the blood debt becomes nameless, less than animal, unworthy of acknowledgement by any sentient being." "That's ridiculous," Maya snapped. "You saved millions of lives by warning that planet. You did the right thing." "Right by your standards, perhaps. My people value loyalty above all. By betraying the 7th house, I forfeited my honor. The blood debt is my only path to redemption." Maya was about to argue further when Pip's voice interrupted. "Captain, I'm detecting a vessel on approach vector. Configuration unknown." Maya moved quickly to the bridge, Calistria following silently. The main display showed a ship emerging from the asteroid field, sleek and predatory, its hull comprised of the same light-bending material as the void station. "That is a Hunter-class pursuit vessel of the Azath," Calistria said, her voice tight. "The Keepers have found us." "How?" Maya demanded. "That station disappeared completely. The binding field's collapse would have triggered alert protocols. They may have been searching for centuries, but now they know precisely where to look." Calistria's eyes narrowed. "They will not allow me to go free, and they will destroy any who interfere." "Incoming transmission," Pip announced. The view screen flickered, revealing a figure similar to Calistria, but with silver-white skin and eyes like polished obsidian. He wore armor more elaborate than Calistria's, with sharp angular components that suggested both protection and status. "Nameless One," he addressed Calistria in flawless consortium standard. "Your sentence was eternal. This escape changes nothing." By the ancient laws, I am bound to a new master, Calistria replied formally. The blood debt must be honored. The figure's gaze shifted to Maya. Human, return what you have taken, and you may live. The nameless one belongs to the Azaf. Maya felt a surge of indignation. She doesn't belong to anyone, least of all me. The alien commander's expression didn't change, but the temperature of his voice dropped perceptibly. Then you have chosen your fate. The transmission ended abruptly. They're powering weapons, Pip reported. Evasive maneuvers, Maya ordered, strapping herself into the pilot's seat. Get us back into the asteroid field. The fortunate wreck lurched as she pushed the engines to full burn. Behind them, the hunter vessel launched a barrage of energy weapons that streaked past their starboard side, missing by meters. Their weapons are calibrated for larger vessels, Calistria observed, bracing herself against the bulkhead. The Azath rarely bother with ships as small as yours. Lucky us, Maya muttered, guiding them between two massive asteroids. Pip, what's our closest jump point? Proxima Way Station, approximately 6 hours at maximum speed, the eye replied. Another volley of weapons fire struck an asteroid near them, the blast wave rocking the ship violently. We won't last 6 minutes at this rate, Maya said through gritted teeth. Calistria moved to the co-pilot's seat. Allow me to help. My people designed these vessels. I know their weaknesses. Maya hesitated only briefly before nodding. Take tactical. Calistria's fingers flew over the unfamiliar controls with surprising dexterity. Their sensors rely primarily on thermal signatures. If we can mask our heat output. The coolant system, Maya realized. We could vent it through the external ports, create a thermal cloud. Precisely. Time it with your next maneuver. Maya brought them sharply around a smaller asteroid, then gave the command. Pip, emergency coolant, purge, all external ports. The ship shuddered as superheated coolant exploded outward in all directions, instantly vaporizing in the vacuum of space. The thermal cloud expanded rapidly, obscuring them from the hunter sensors. Now cut all non-essential systems, Calistria instructed. Make us as cold as the void. Maya complied, plunging the bridge into darkness as life support switched to emergency power. Through the viewport, they watched the hunter vessel pass overhead, its sensors scanning fruitlessly for their signature. Old position, Calistria whispered, though there was no need for silence in space. They will make 3 passes before widening the search pattern. Sure enough, the alien ship made a precise turn and crossed their position again at a different angle. On the 3rd pass, it adjusted course and accelerated away, expanding its search radius. That won't fool them for long, Maya said, gradually restoring power to essential systems. We need a plan. The nearest jump point leads to consortium space, Calistria noted. The Azath will not follow there, not openly. Their conflict with your people remains unresolved. Maya shot her a questioning look. What conflict? As far as I know, humanity has never encountered your species. You have, Calistria corrected, though neither side recognized the other. The Battle of Arcturus Prime, what your histories call a fall of the Accord, that was the Azath. The revelation struck Maya like a physical blow. The Arcturus Accord had been humanity's first and greatest interstellar alliance, a coalition of 17 species united in peaceful exploration and trade. Its mysterious collapse had precipitated a century of isolation and eventual subjugation under the consortium. That's impossible, she whispered. The Accord fell from internal conflict, political disputes between the founding species. Disputes carefully cultivated by Azath infiltrators, Calistria said grimly. My people have perfected the art of conquest through division. Why sacrifice Azath lives when your enemies will destroy themselves with proper encouragement? Maya's mind raced with implications, if what you're saying is true. The consortium may already be compromised, Calistria finished for her, which means we cannot seek sanctuary there. The ship's systems had recovered enough for basic operations. Maya plotted a new course, away from the Proxima way station. "Where can we go?" she asked. Calistrea considered for a moment. "There is a place, a sanctuary world at the edges of what was once Accord space. The Azath believed it destroyed in the collapse, but I learned otherwise during my time as War Herald. If it still exists, we may find allies there." "That's a big if," Maya pointed out. "All survival is predicated on ifs," Maya Reeves. For the first time, something like a smile touched Calistrea's lips. "Or do you humans no longer embrace risk?" Despite herself, Maya felt the corner of her mouth twitch upward. "Set the course. But understand this, I'm not your master and you're not my servant. If we're going to survive, we need to be partners." Calistrea's expression grew solemn again. "The blood debt cannot be dismissed so easily, but I will attempt to adapt to your cultural preferences." It wasn't exactly a victory, but it was progress. Maya engaged the engines, guiding them along the new vector Calistrea had provided. "Pip, calculate maximum safe speed to conserve coolant. We've got a long journey ahead." "Of course, Captain," the AI replied cheerfully. "And may I say, your new friend is quite fascinating. Perhaps she'd be interested in a game of chess while we travel." Maya glanced at Calistrea, who raised an eyebrow in question. "It's a strategy game," Maya explained, "based on battlefield tactics from ancient Earth. I would be honored to learn your war games." Calistrea replied with formal politeness. As Pip projected a holographic chessboard between them, Maya couldn't help but wonder what she'd gotten herself into. A warrior from a species that had destroyed humanity's greatest alliance, bound by an honor code she couldn't comprehend, pursued by enemies with technology far beyond her understanding, and all because she couldn't resist investigating an anomalous energy signature. Just another day in the salvage business. "The hunt begins." "Check," said Pip triumphantly, his holographic figure adjusting its monocle with smug satisfaction. Calistrea studied the chessboard with narrowed eyes, then moved her remaining bishop. "Your strategy is unconventional." "That's a diplomatic way of saying he cheats," Maya called from beneath the navigation console, where she was elbow-deep in circuitry. 2 weeks of hard running had pushed the fortunate Rex systems to their limits. "I do not cheat," Pip protested. "I merely calculate probabilities with perfect precision. Which is why I reprogrammed you to make at least one suboptimal move per game," Maya replied, wincing as a spark caught her finger. "Otherwise, you'd be insufferable." Calistrea captured Pip's knight. In war, predictability means death. Calculated imperfection is often the wisest strategy. Maya emerged from the console, wiping grease from her hands. "Is that something they taught you in War Herald School?" "It is something I learned at great cost," Calistrea replied. There was no self-pity in her tone, just statement of fact. "The 7th house values perfection above all. Deviation is weakness. Weakness is failure." "Sounds like a cheerful bunch," Maya muttered. "How much farther to this sanctuary of yours?" "At current velocity, approximately 3 standard days," Calistrea said. "Assuming your navigation calculations are accurate." "They're accurate," Maya assured her, "though we're pushing into territory that hasn't seen human traffic in decades. The charts get sketchy out here." Their course had taken them beyond the edge of consortium-controlled space, through abandoned colonies and derelict listening posts. Twice they detected pursuit, Azath hunter vessels sweeping methodically through nearby systems, but each time they'd managed to evade detection. Calistrea had proven invaluable, her knowledge of Azath tactics allowing them to predict search patterns and plan accordingly. She'd also helped Maya optimize the ship's systems, making modifications that squeezed extra efficiency from the aging engines. Yet for all their growing cooperation, the alien maintained a certain distance. She followed Maya's suggestions readily enough, but always with the formality of one fulfilling an obligation rather than acting from choice. "Your move," Pip prompted, interrupting Maya's thoughts. She glanced at the chessboard to see that Calistrea had somehow maneuvered into a dominant position. "I think our guest is about to beat your perfect record, Pip." Impossible, the AI declared. My strategic calculations. Checkmate, Calistrea announced, moving her queen with decisive precision. Pitt's holographic figure clutched its chest in theatrical shock. But that's never happened before. Perhaps you should calculate more imperfections, Calistrea suggested, the barest hint of amusement in her voice. A warning chime from the navigation console interrupted their banter. Maya moved quickly to investigate, her expression growing serious. Proximity alert, she explained. Something big just entered sensor range. The main display activated, showing a massive structure drifting against the backdrop of a binary star system. It appeared to be a space station, but unlike any Maya had ever seen. A sprawling complex of interconnected rings and spheres, at least 20 kilometers in diameter. "Is that your sanctuary?" she asked. Calistrea moved closer to the display, her posture tense. "No. That is a Nexus hub, a staging ground for Azath conquest fleets." "It looks abandoned," Maya observed, noting the darkened sections and lack of activity. "It appears dormant," Calistrea corrected. Nexus hubs are designed to endure centuries between campaigns, awaiting the return of the Azath forces. Maya reduced power to their engines, allowing the ship to drift on its current trajectory. "Can they detect us?" "Not at this distance, if the hub is truly dormant. But we should alter course immediately." Maya was about to comply when something caught her eye, a flicker of movement near one of the hub's docking arrays. Magnifying the image revealed a small vessel, similar in design to their Azath pursuers but more streamlined. "Someone's there," she murmured. Calistrea leaned in, her amber eyes widening slightly. "That is not an Azath vessel. It bears the markings of the Kithrani, scavengers who follow in the wake of Azath conquests, claiming abandoned technology." "Salvagers," Maya said. "Like me." "Not like you," Calistrea corrected sharply. "The Kithrani have no honor. They steal and destroy with equal enthusiasm." Another alert from the sensors. The Kithrani vessel was powering its engines, breaking away from the hub. "They've detected us," Maya realized, already plotting an evasive course. "Wait," Calistrea said, placing a hand on Maya's arm. "They are not pursuing. They appear to be fleeing." Indeed, the alien ship was accelerating away from both the hub and the fortunate wreck, its trajectory suggesting panic rather than aggression. What would scare off scavengers from an abandoned treasure trove? Maya wondered aloud. The answer came in the form of a massive energy surge from the Nexus hub. Section by section, the structure began to illuminate, dormant systems reactivating in cascading sequence. "It was a trap," Calistrea breathed, genuine fear in her voice for the first time since Maya had met her. The hub was never dormant. It was waiting. Waiting for what? "For me." Calistrea's expression hardened. The binding field's collapse would have triggered a recall signal to all Azath outposts.